So what's next?
No,
I'll get off my soapbox.
that was good. I think you said everything quite reasonably then.
Thank you.
And that'll be a great soundbite when we split up the video.
Carpet muncher, carpet muncher, carpet muncher.
You know, in context, it's good. But after the
Sensible shoes, sensible shoes, sensible
after
shoes.
the fifth time, it's not that funny. Michael Phelps, who I think might be the greatest Olympic swimmer ever, with meaning the most number
Who
of
got
medals.
the most medals?
And he has come out today, and I don't mean that euphemistically. He has come out and said that there has to be something done about trans people, transsexuals,
No.
in sport,
Right.
which is a topic that we discussed a couple of weeks ago, meaning that in this particular context, there is a swimmer who was male up until a year ago, and since since this
The slice
male,
and dice surgery.
I don't know if he's been sliced and diced. Are we
Okay.
allowed to say that?
Well, I know we annoy people when we use the term
If you-
schmeckolectomy.
Right. If you have a problem, come up with the best. You come up with some weird ones, Harry. If you don't like the way we talk, please call us on 906-92087, or if you do, please call us anyway.
Yeah.
Or,
And you can call the complaints department on 9069-2087.
so
And someone who cares will be with you never.
so this person has become a female swimmer. This male has become a female swimmer
If I may
and
interrupt,
is now winning all medals.
if I may, I was going to ask if I may interrupt for a moment. Is there a case, because we keep on hearing about these boys who become girls and then win everything.
Right.
Have we got a case where, people have actually been writing to
Have
us.
they?
I'm sorry, I haven't been watching the screen. I've been too busy looking at you while we're
I've
having
been
this
looking at
conversation.
this and I haven't seen it.
But do we have a case of a woman who's become a man who's content to not win anything?
Oh, as in they're
Like the other way
they're
round.
They're not. Hang on, a woman who goes into men's sport,
Yeah.
and I would have to think the answer is no.
Oh, we've hit a nerve.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Go on.
With Sandra Cohen. Men have never given up a seat for me on a bus. Once I was 8 months pregnant and the young men didn't give me a seat on a packed tram. Eventually an older man did express his disgust at the young men present. I really appreciated that. And so you should, Sandra, and I'm terribly sorry I was not on that tram at the time. I would have given up my seat for you. From Daniel, feminists don't hate
I would have
women.
given up my seat for Sandra.
Of course we would have. Because that's the old school kind of guys we are. Mind you, we would have just got off the tram because you never want to be that close to an 8-month-old pregnant woman.
I didn't realise there were all these comments.
Yeah.
What does Daniel Pinchasov say?
Daniel Pinasov, feminists don't hate women. They hate women that make their own choice to be, so to speak, feminine, leaning towards stereotypically feminine in their socioeconomic lives. That's actually
That
very
make
true.
their own choice. They hate women that make their own choice to be feminine.
Who don't exactly.
No, I don't get it.
Okay, so the feminists dislike women who choose to follow the traditional feminine roles, like motherhood.
They don't
be
like
the
that.
ca- That's right.
Right.
They don't like that.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that's what you said.
Yes.
Yep.
I think Sandra Cohen liked the sliced and diced comment.
Good.
They roll it and fold it and roll it again, layer up and layer up and layer.
Okay. So so we don't have. You're right. I cannot think of a particular example where there has been a female who has not transferred. What's the word I'm thinking of?
Transferred.
What's the word I'm thinking of?
Become.
Switched. We'll go with switched. Switched to becoming a male, and that's going to cause some big fuss. That
Yes,
word
because we
switched.
didn't know the exact term that
Yeah.
they would like us to refer
So
to them
please
as.
call us up or send us a message on Facebook.
You know what? You can
with
call
what-
me
with
anything
what-
you like as
what
long as
word
it's
it
not
is.
late for dinner.
There hasn't been a female that's become a male and done well,
Mm-hmm.
or actually,
Do you think
there
there could
hasn't
be a reason
there
for
hasn't
that?
been any females that have gone into male sport
Well, we don't know.
that we know of.
Correct.
Maybe there has been, but we're not aware of it.
Correct.
And it seems that all the males that have become females are doing very well in female sports, and it's completely
And
unfair.
again,
And this is what Michael Phelps is saying.
well, of course, it's unfair because effectively it spells the end for women's sports.
Yep. It's not women's sport anymore.
No,
if
it's
you
not.
had a whole, think about that. If you had an Olympic team that was all made up of transsexual males who had
the
become
Australian
females,
boomers,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
The boomers go get the chop. They compete in the women's competition. We
Right.
get the gold medal in basketball every 4 years.
Perfect.
Why not?
And maybe that's one way of handling the situation, because we know that didn't China about 20 or 25 years ago, they paired up the captain of the Chinese basketball team and the captain of the female Chinese basketball team, and they had a child, and that child also
Well, now
went
you're
on to play basketball.
Now you're talking about a government-sanctioned human breeding program.
I could be speaking out of my
I was
where
like, we were
about
only
this.
talking. We were only talking last night. The boys and I went out last night for bike
But
night.
it's effectively the same thing.
It is
It's
a
like
breeding program.
it's going through a
Yeah.
process in order to obtain a particular goal.
Yeah. But yeah, you talk about breeding. Just if I can regale you a very simple little story. So last night I went out with the boys for bike night, and
I'm
we're
in so much trouble.
we're riding down to meet up with all these Guns and Meshuggahs at the Palais Theatre. Anyway,
Bicycle riding?
motorbikes.
Ah,
So bicycles, please. So we're at the intersection of Inkerman and Chapel Street, and there's a couple walking their dog, a little Dachshund long-haired sausage dog
yes,
thing, right?
yes.
So Zach says to me, because we've all got communicators in the helmet, so we can all talk to each other. Zach says to me, I've never thought about this before, but how does a dog like that evolve? Like, what would its natural environment be? And I go, mate, it's all about breeding.
Breeding.
Human intervention. That's the only way a dog like that survives. And
In order to succeed.
yeah, but I don't know what happened. Fortunately, maybe it was good that I was far enough away that I couldn't smell something going on. But all of a sudden, this dog just started jumping up and biting its owner's knockers. And there's the three of us on our bikes laughing our heads off at this poor bloke with this dog that stood 2 inches above the ground. But yeah, but that government sanctioned breeding programs are very different from
But it's all to achieve a goal. Like, why, if they get into the women's sport, which I think, and you probably think, they shouldn't be there. They shouldn't be competing against biologically born women.
Here is the problem.
What's the problem?
We, as in people like you, myself, the average man on the street, when someone chooses to live their life as the opposite sex, we are now expected
Yep.
to accept that as some kind of universal truth. When, you know what, if for whatever reason you believe you will feel better about yourself, you believe you'll be a more complete individual by spending the rest of your days living as the other sex to that which you were born as, great. But along with that comes some certain caveats that you have to accept upon yourself, that there are still going to be things and activities you are going to be excluded from. So, as a woman who was at some point a man, you are never going to be able to fall pregnant and
Right.
give birth,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
By the same token,
Yep.
you can't compete in women's sports because you have an unfair physical advantage.
Oh, that's interesting.
You have to, at
You
some
can go,
point, you have
can
to
go
accept
one way, but you can't go the other way.
you have to accept certain truths about yourself and not insist that the rest of the world buys in to your
What about a chest feeding?
psychosis.
Find us on Facebook. Just head to www.facebook.com/J Air Radio. That's 2 R's. J Air Radio.